everyone. This is Zosha Rengaraju. I'm going to take the workshop on tackling the WITS Datathon Challenge 2021. This workshop will serve as a resource material for the Phase 2 Research Challenge, which is about to end on April 30th, where you will write a research paper and submit it. And I'm a BITS Mysuru ambassador, and I'm also a Kaggle grandmaster. I was also one of the participants of BITS Datathon 2021 challenge, and I placed in sixth place. And these are my teammates. Mathuran Ache is a Kaggle master from Prevision.io. Jerome Dadu is again a Kaggle master from Orange. France, and Zainab Grib is again from Prevision.io from France. And this is me, Usha Rengaraju. My Kaggle pseudonym is Tensor Girl. And throughout this competition, I got help for the domain knowledge from three doctors. I would like to give credit to them: Dr. Dhruv Joshi, Dr. Dilip Unikrishnan, and Dr. Dilip Raman from Cloud Physician. And these people are top experts with regards to the ICU data in the world. And let's get started with the workshop. And let's first go through the data, what the data set is about. This data set is 24. This data set contains patients' records of patients who are admitted to the ICU 24 hours before they got admitted. There are a lot of parameters which has been captured for these patients, and around 180 parameters are being captured. The task is to predict whether the patient has got a type 2 diabetes, which is called diabetes mellitus or not. So predicting the probability whether the patient has got type 2 diabetes or not is the problem statement. The data set is from MIT Gauss's initiative, which is Global Open Survey Severity of Illness Score. And it is brought to you by WITS Worldwide team at Stanford and the West Data, Big Data Innovation Hub, and the WITS Datathon Committee. And there are a lot of official Datathon resources which you can check it out. And I'm also going to walk through a lot of insights from the winners, from several people who have posted their public kernels. I'm going to quickly walk through different insights from all of the publicly available resources for this particular competition. And this particular competition, the evaluation metric was area under the curve ROC. And I'll also give you a little insight about the phase 2 timelines. And the phase 2 timelines is so the phase 2 starts on March 9th and it ends on April 30th, and the winners will be announced on August 2021. And you've also got good cash prizes. The winners get $3,000 per team, and one complimentary VIP registration per team member for WITS 2022. And you'll also get WITS Datathon Excellent in Research Award certificate, and you'll also be featured in WITS Story article. And in addition to the 2000, in addition to this winner, there will be around up to 2,500 USD will be distributed for honorable mentions across submitted research papers. And for the eligibility, there is also an eligibility criteria to be able to participate in the phase 2 of the competition. You should have submitted, for the first phase of the WITS Datathon 2020 on Kaggle. And only if you have participated in the phase 1 of the WITS Datathon 2021 challenge, you're eligible for the phase 2. amongst here there are if you would wish to team up with a different person who's not part of the WITS, who has registered and participated in the WITS Datathon 2021 but not part of your team, you can still team up with them as long as they've submitted an entry to the WITS Datathon 2021 challenge, the phase one of the challenge. This is about the phase two and the data set. So this is an healthcare data set, and we've got a lot of files here. I'm going to quickly walk through each of the file. We have a training data, which is training data. This entire competition has been hosted on Kaggle, and you have the data set in the Kaggle platform. And this is the training data, and you have the test data, which is the unlabeled with TFF, and you also have a sample submission, and you also have the data dictionary. The data dictionary is very important because it contains information about what each and every field means. So this is about data. This challenge is a tabular data problem, and before we get, there are a lot of solutions already available out there. So let me share some insights which I've been able to, get from a lot of domain experts, and some of the top experts in this field throughout this competition. They were generous enough to find time and share their insights with me. These are doctors who have been working in the ICU department for a long time, and also developed solutions, database solutions for smart ICU solutions. And so I'd like to share some of the insights about the fields, or some of the domain knowledge insights. And we have several categories of, this is the data dictionary files, and we have several categories of variables. And let me sort it out by different variables and talk about the importance of each of the variables. Let me start with Apache comorbidity. If you take Apache comorbidity, Dr. Leo, who's been part of the WITS Datathon committee, is also mentioned during the WITS webinar that only the very important variables for Apache comorbidity has been retained in the data sets. The unimportant variables has already been dropped. So the variables which are there as a part of comorbidity are the only ones which are relevant and very important. With my interaction with the experts, what I gathered was this particular variable immunosuppression is very closely related to the person having a diabetes or not. Amongst the other variables, immunosuppression is a very important indicator for diabetes in comparison with the other variables. Coming up second, next are leukemia, lymphoma also have some connection with the patient having the um, diabetes or not. But immunosuppression is the most important variable amongst all of it. Let's go to the next category of variables. Vitals. So vitals are very important. If you take, there are D1 variables and the H1 variables. In D1 variable stands for the first 24 hours. During the first 24 hours, the patient's maximum and minimum variable for a particular variable as reading for a particular variable has been recorded. This is D1 max and D1 min. And for the first hour, as soon as the patient enters, the max and min readings for a particular variable are recorded. These are H1 max and the H1 min. Let's go through the important variables in vitals. Amongst these variables, vitals are one of the important categories of variables with regards to the diabetes prediction as per the domain knowledge of the doctors and experts. And if you see, there is something called invasive and non-invasive. And the domain expert had told me that invasive readings can be more accurate, but there is a probability that you may not find the invasive readings for all of the patients, because so it is better to take a non-invasive reading. And you also have diastolic blood pressure, which is DSP. And you also have diastolic blood pressure, and you also have systolic blood pressure, which is sys-BP. And you also have something called MBP, which is mean blood pressure. Amongst the diastolic, systolic, and MBP, MBP variable is the most important as per the domain expert. So you can take, when you are building features, the most important features you need to take into account is MBP. And in amongst the MBP, you have max or min. You can either take D1 or H1. And amongst the max or min, you can either choose max or min. And the rest of the variables, like heart rate, is very important. And the other variables are not very important for, as per the domain expert, but you will have to do a feature selection based on the models. Heart rate is a very important parameter. Let's jump to the next category of variables, which is lab blood gas. So lab bed class, again, you have D1 and H1 variables, and these are blood pressures. You have bicarbonate, you have pH values, you have partial oxygen, and FiO2. And amongst these variables, lab blood gas, none of it is very important, but bicarbonate, partial pressure of carbon dioxide, to an extent, has some kind of a significance. So Apache covariate. Apache covariate variables are more closely related with mortality and than in diabetes prediction. So as per the domain experts, these variables are not very important. One more thing is Apache covariate variables are not lab values; these are derived values as well. But this is the perspective of a domain expert, but the modeling and the insights coming out from the winner solution is very different. So the reason why I'm taking you through the data set instead of going to the winner solution and discussing it is, this is a research phase. So in the phase one of the competition, you would have the more focus is on the leaderboard. The reason why there is even a research phase competition in the first place is when you take the leaderboard in Kaggle, all it matters is all it matters is the metric. Score is AUC ROC. The person with the AUC ROC, highest AUC ROC score, is the winner. But that person may not necessarily have the best model. And this is also a clinical data set. So there should be a lot of care which should go into analyzing each and every model before it is being productionized. So it's very important. You also take the perspective, since this is a research based competition, you should also take the perspectives of domain experts into consideration rather than just going by the winner solutions. So since I have interacted with a lot of domain experts, and that's why I'm walking you through the domain experts perspectives on these variables before we dive into the winner solutions. And Yeah. So the Apache variables are not very important or not much of significance, but still, except for the glucose values, but they are still, widely being used by all winners in their solutions. So in the research phase, you can dig out, you can use other external data sets and see the degree of the importance of these variables in your models. Amongst the demographic variables, the age, BMI, ethnicity, gender, height, and weight are the most important variables. And readmission status is not a very important variable. But as per the experts, the ICU ID, hospital stay type, ICU type, and the pre ICU LOAS days, elective surgery, and all these are irrelevant variables. But if you see all the winner solutions, their solution is based on creating features using ICU underscore ID. But if you just check the values of ICU underscore ID, it is full of junk. It's just a random integers. But there are different theories which is floating around in the discussion forums. Some people saying, these ICU IDs captures parameters which are hidden, and there are a lot of things which has been unsaid by the patient, and this has been captured by the ICU underscore ID, and a lot of theory files. It's up to the it's in the research phase that the researchers like you should analyze and see why ICU underscore ID, in spite of being considered as a junk by the medical practitioners, is one of the top features in the model. And this is about the features in the demographic. And finally, the features under identifier. You have encounter ID and hospital ID. And hospital ID is not an important features again. Encounter ID is a feature for identifying uniquely each and every patient. And so far, we discussed the domain knowledge perspectives of the different variables. That are around 180 variables classified into different important groups. Now let's look at some code approaches on how to solve the problem, and also go through how you can how the winners have solved the problem. The first three winners, what are some of the important tricks and trade they have employed. So if you're an absolute beginner, I have written a code which is specifically suited for a total absolute beginner. It is with Datathon 2021 CAD Boost starter, and it has got a lot of video tutorials. Even if you've never Kaggle before, or if you're totally new to machine learning, this is a very good notebook for you to get up and started very quickly in a short span of time. I'm using a couple of AutoML libraries. One is the Dable, and the other is the Pandas profiling. Dable and the Pandas profiling, I'm using to quickly clean the data set using Dable's clean method, and I'm plotting the features against the target variables. Pandas profiling. Pandas profiling is also another AutoML tool which you can do a lot of data analysis in just few lines of code. I'm creating a profile report using the data frame, and with just single line of code, I'm able to get all the data analysis which I need. So this is a great tool. These are great AutoML tools for absolute beginners with no programming background. And so you get all informations like number of variables, number of observations, how many missing cells are there, what are the data types of these variables. And for each and every variable you get a lot of statistics and also the distribution of this particular variable. You get these insights for all the 180 variables present out there. Then the rest of the code is a simple cat boost model. Cat boost is an open source library. A lot of winners have used cat boost in their winning solution pipeline. And so cat boost is an open source ML library coming from Yandex. And so it's a very easier library where I'm just creating a pool object and then I'm creating a model and a couple of lines of code. There are also code for doing hyperparameter tuning and then making a submission. This is a very, very simple notebook for absolute beginners who have never coded before. I'm going to next walk through another notebook which contains a very detailed explanation of the WIDS datathon. This notebook belongs to a person called I am Leonie. She's from Germany. And yeah, this is I am Leonie from Germany. I'm going to use her notebook to walk through the WIDS Datathon 2021 diabetes detection, EDA, and the entire solution pipeline. She's done a brilliant job in out making this notebook public, a very detailed EDA. So there's a detailed introduction of what is diabetes, what are the different types of diabetes. There's also a mention of gestational diabetes, which where the women who are not actually diabetic are diagnosed with diabetes during their pregnancy. And there's also indicators for diabetes mellitus. You have something like fasting plasma glucose level, plasma glucose, and you have some insights about, she has mentioned about what are the indicators for diabetes mellitus. And there are few important things which you need to keep in mind about this data set. First off, this is an unbalanced data set. So if you see, there are the number of people with diabetes is very low in comparison with number of people without diabetes. So there is a data imbalance there. And for data cleaning, if you take readmission status is just zero for all the variables, all the patients. So it is better to drop it. And again, there is hospital ID, which is not actually a useful feature as such. But then you can do, while you're doing cross validation, you can do a group K-fold validation using you can group by the hospital ID. And but hospital ID as such as a feature is not of much significance. Again, there is already a lot of varied thoughts on ICU ID from the domain experts. They say it is an irrelevant feature, but all the winners have created a lot of features around ICU IT. So this is something for the researchers to dig through and find out. So the usual data cleaning, like dropping the duplicate columns, and the age is a very important creative feature. And there are a lot of rows with implausible age like 0 and all, and it's better you can drop the those age, because age cannot be 0, and most of the patients are about 16 years of old. So there's a lot of imputation which can be done for the age feature. And there are a lot of techniques for handling missing values, like fancy impute, iterative imputation from the sklearn packages. So there are a lot of imputation techniques which is available. And for the categorical variable columns, there are around 7 categorical columns, and the categorical columns requires encoding. So there's a detailed feature engineering on, there are some of the kernels which is being released 2 weeks before the competitions. And also this is the same data set which is shared with the last year as well. So the last year's winners have already shared a lot of features which is being reused again in the winning solutions for this year's. I would again highly recommend watching one of my teammates notebook for 2020 Datathon from Jerome. And the lot of feature engineering has been used by all the winners from his notebook. And there's also another notebook from 2020 winner Dan offers notebook with regards to the feature engineering as well. Most of them have tried to create features around the max values, min values, range, create a lot of features around this. And D1 and H1, they've tried to do a lot of feature engineering around these values. And for the validation strategies, people have used a combination of stratified folding, and they've also used group K fold. And and again, ensembling, they have used a combination of LGBM, XGBoost, AutoML models, and all of the combination of the tree-based models is the integral part of the winning solutions. And you can also, there are also methods as a part of LGBM and the other tree based libraries which will give you the feature importance of the most important variables. You will be able to find out what are the most important variables which actually contribute to the prediction. And hyperparameter tuning, most of the winners have mentioned they've used Optuna for hyperparameter optimization. And there are other hyperparameter tuning tools which you can use, auto ML tools which you can use to optimize your hyperparameters. So this is the walkthrough of a detailed EDA notebook. I'll quickly walk through the winning solutions of this year's Datathon. So So this year Datathon is from dihydrogen oxide, H2AI, EPFL, Scientific Mind. So these are three winners of this year's Datathon. I'll quickly walk through their notebook and solution. So this is a first place solution. Some of the techniques she has used is she has target encoded the ICU IDs and the hospital IDs, and she has also paid a lot of importance to creating features around the BMI, height, and weight variable. And there is again one thing which is very important to know is the Apache diagnosis variables are not very important as per the domain experts for diabetes predictions, but the winning solution, she has also used target encoded interactions between these Apache variables. And and there's a lot of feature engineering around min value and max value. And so her winning entry was stacking of one LGBM and two XGBoost and two AutoML solutions. And let's check the second place winner solution. Some of the second place, again, one important thing which is very common to all the winners is features, lot of features based on the ICU ID. The second place winning solution have also used adversarial validation to find out the samples which are very dissimilar in the test set, and they've found around 15,000 samples, string samples which are dissimilar, and they've dropped them. And sparsification of categorical variables, and they trained on whole trained data set. These are insights from the second place solutions. Let's also check the insights from the third place solutions. The third place winners have created a lot of features. They've tried to get some signal from the min value and the max value. They've tried to create, in addition to min and max value, they try to create various other statistics around it, average, range, and they were just trying to create different perspectives from these statistics. And they've also used the delta feature for the difference between H and D columns for few variables. And for them, they had mentioned iterative imputation did not work much effectively. And they've done a lot of feature engineering around BMI. There are a lot of variables, ratio features, which is being created. And there was a person called Siavesh. This person's kernel released 2 weeks before the competition, served as a huge, a repository of reservoir of insights for all the winners. And so I would highly recommend checking out Siavesh kernels on 2020 features. And again, this person's feature engineering were also used by all the winners. And there is one special technique which the third place winners have employed is they've used done a special type of technique as echoed by all the domain experts, that ICUID is not an important feature. But again, Kaggle everything, like the winning is based on your score. Even if your model is not very good or healthy, what all matters is the score. And so these people have come up with a very clever technique. So on performing adversarial validation, it was discovered that ICUID is not a very important feature. Again, if you drop it, the score is going to come down terribly. So there was another person called Chris Stewart, who is a competition grandmaster, who has suggested an idea in one of the previous competitions. They have made use of this particular idea. And the main idea which they have tried out is they've tried out to try to group by this adversarial feature, and they calculated a lot of statistics like mean for all the numerical features. And then they had dropped this adversarial features. So these are some of the insights coming from the third place solutions and the ensembling techniques which they have used. And they also mentioned the cross validation. They've used fivefold stratified cross validations. And they had stage one and stage two-stage imputation process. In the first stage, they have clustered all these similar categories using k-means clustering for using the variables height, weight, and the age features. And then they've done a simple mean imputation. This is in the stage one. In the stage two, some of the features in these clusters are completely missed. So the data had a very small amount of missing values, and that was fixed by mean imputation. So this is the imputation strategy which the third place winner has employed. Again, they've used 5 different models. One is the CatBoost, XGBoost, LightGBM, TabNet, which is a neural network for tabular data, logistic regression. So this is the uh, ensemble stack of the third place winner. And the important advice coming from them is always trust your CV. Don't get carried away by the high leaderboard score. We've come to the end of the session for phase two. So this is the quick walkthrough of the important insights from the phase one of the competition. And do go to the frequently asked questions and check out if all your questions are answered. If your questions are not answered, you can always, if you have some queries, you can always go to the discussion forum, create new discussion threads, and post your queries there. The people across the world will answer it. Go to the code section and create a lot of notebooks if you have insights to share with other people. And the phase two of the competition starts on March 9th. I'm wishing the very best for all the participants of phase one to also do well in the phase two. Here's wishing the best from me. Uh, Take care and thank you.